Hey everyone, welcome to Automation once again. So I saw your request on the last video and I've downloaded the mod. Now we're going to be making a massive armored van today. I think I'm going to call it the Rhino, but well, let's get into it. So it comes with three different sizes. We've got 2.8 meters in length, 3.7, and 4.2. Naturally, we're going 4.2 meters in length. So, steel materials, ladder frame, steel. I mean, I'm going back to 1975, so it's not going to be anything crazy. And we're going leafs in both the front and the back because I feel that it needs to be strong. With all of these mods, there's always the possibility that the suspension just isn't hard enough, so we may have to improve the quality on that. We'll see. So far in the series, I've been doing a lot of inline engines, at least this season I have been. So I was thinking this time, let's put a V12 in this. We could do a V8, but we're going to need some power because I'm pretty sure that this weighs around 6,500 kilos. Okay, we're going to need torque, so we're going to raise this up. We can probably fit a huge V12 in it. Maybe let's go 10 liters. Let's go overhead cam. Let's go 2 valves. We're not too concerned about RPM. We just need enough grunt to get the thing moving. I have no idea how much power I'm expecting to make here either. One thing we can do is lower the cam profile all the way. This might break it, but we'll see. Let's avoid turbos for now, and let's just go injection. We'll try and get some decent parts. I don't plan on raising the quality sliders at all, but we might have to if we need more power. So this intake is a very interesting looking one. Never seen it before because I never go multi or mechanical fuel injection, and it seems like the best course of action here is to go leaded fuel once again. Okay, so we have all kinds of issues here, partly because of this being all the way down. If we raise it up, we can fix quite a few things. Goodness, we're already up to 568 horsepower. That's pretty decent out of something like this. Also keep in mind that that's non-turbo as well. I think we should probably shoot for maybe 700 horsepower. We don't need that much. It's going to be slow regardless. We just need enough to actually move. Alright, I think I've settled it. Let's try and go for 630 horsepower with 834 newton meters of torque. Obviously this isn't as much as the engine will actually do. I've only put up the quality sliders just a little bit in some sections to help with the reliability issues, but other than that, I think we should be good. As long as it moves, then we'll be fine. Alright, here is a first look at the body. It really is not that impressive without any fixtures on it and also in red. And it's kind of missing a huge piece of the bumper, but I'm assuming that's by design. So when it comes to color, we could probably just paint it steel and be done with it, but I'm thinking that we'll have to come up with something new. Alright, so these are the colors that I've chosen. It's just going to be a metal body and black wheels. I think that's pretty simple. It doesn't need to be too complicated. It is just kind of a large armored van. Now when it comes to decorating this, I honestly have no idea. This is where things get a little bit interesting because it's up to my interpretation. Oh, just before we do anything, I put the engine in and it's really tiny. The truck is so massive that a 10-liter V12 looks like nothing in there. It seems like everything I make ends up turning out very similar to this, but I'm kind of okay with it. I've basically just put a bunch of markers on it and I've done this grille setup. It's kind of like a faux truck, also totally out of place for an armored vehicle. That's okay though. Now we just need to maybe add a lip. I don't know, it just feels like there's something missing on the front end of it. Oh no, it just looks way too sporty with a lip. It's just kind of awkward. I guess we can go to the bumpers and see. We could put something like that on it. It's pretty decently sized. Quite a large chin piece. You could also have lights, but it just seems a little bit too modern. Like this is 1975, so the best we can probably get away with is like a chrome grille like this. Or chrome bumper like this, but instead of being chrome, obviously it has to be plastic. You know what? I think I'm gonna leave that just for now. I think what I'm gonna go for here is like a production version of an armored vehicle rather than just being a full-on armored vehicle. It just makes more sense. So I'm thinking that hinges on the hood will definitely help the look of things. Although the hood probably opens this way rather than that way, so have to fix that. Because trucks like these would totally have exposed hinges, huge ones as well. I'm wondering if there's even a point to putting mirrors on it because you wouldn't be able to see. If you have a little mirror, I guess we can do like truck style mirrors. These are 60s truck mirrors, but they'd have to be like way out here to actually be able to see anything because you can't see anything out of the window on the side like you normally would be able to. So I just decided to put a little tiny mirror on one side. That's all it needs. It's really going to be hard to see out of this, like that Top Gear episode, Marauder 2.0. So awkwardly, as I'm working with the back, it unfortunately tore up this piece here and I can't fix it. So yeah, that's just going to have to stay as is. I've added some details that hopefully you'll like, but I've made all the bolts like plasticky colored, and I've also added a bunch of hinges to everything. There isn't much that we can do style-wise with this, like it being a more armored vehicle. I'm not really sure what to do. I think that's kind of evident, but I did put a hitch so we can try and tow something with it. It does have a decent amount of torque. It might not even be able to move, but, well, we'll see. So it's really small, but it does say that it's the Rhino. I think that's really all we need. That might be it for styling. It's not fancy, but it's decent enough. The more important part, though, is the drivetrain. So we have 4-wheel drive. I'm gonna go automatic. Let's go 4-speed. It says it can get up to 215. I kind of doubt that. We will see. I mean, we can test it. Probably going to need more spacing as well because it's generally not going to be very quick. Let's go manual locker. Thankfully, it doesn't have any wheel spin. We're going to need to put the biggest wheels on it as possible. I've already tested this mod just a little bit to make sure it actually worked. And that's the way that you do it. Like, the way that it has to go is the biggest wheels you can get. You can make the wheels, like the tires themselves, bigger, which are, oh my goodness, those are massive. And we can also go for huge rims, but I think we'll just stick at the base. So when it comes to brakes, it weighs so much that we're probably going to need vented discs in the front, and we'll put vented discs in the back as well. We'll probably have to come back and change this based on the graphs, because, well, it could be bad. Let's put 2 seats in the back as well, so it's got quite a few. As per usual, we're going no interior, no entertainment. Do hydraulic steering. No safety at all. There's no possibility for ABS. Suspension is going to be an interesting one. I decided to go with hydropneumatic, and we'll go for an off-road preset as well. I mean, it's working, so that's good. We definitely need to tweak the brakes, and we have 0 downforce. Okay, 0 to 100 in 15 seconds. I guess that's what you can expect with this. Ooh, it's tall. If we lower the ride height all the way down, it looks a little more reasonable, so I think we'll go halfway in between. Seems to be pretty decent. Alright, so to fix our braking graph, we need to bring the rear brakes, which are all the way down here, above the rear grip, and we need to do the same thing with the front brakes. So it's way down, it needs to be way up. So, best way to do that is to increase the size of the discs and also increase the pad type. Hopefully this actually works. So these brakes are 420 millimeters across, which is huge. Let's check them out actually. Oh wow, those are huge discs. And 2 pistons as well. That's just massive, but it's still not enough, so we're going to have to increase the pad type. This should hopefully make it work. Alright, even with full race pads, we can't get enough brake force to actually stop it properly. We might have to up the quality of the brakes as well. So quality 15 brakes, max size, max pad type is still not enough to stop it. This thing is going to be straight up dangerous. Just to try and help with things, I'm going to raise up the brake airflow a touch and also go back and adjust the drivetrain as necessary. Alright, it's time for the grand reveal. It weighs 7,690 kilos. Oh my goodness. Well, that is a lot of weight to deal with. Let's see if the suspension is up to it. Let's test this thing out in beam, and hopefully it actually works. Alright, so here is the Rhino. It's going to be called the X12 Rhino because it's a V12 version. In beam, I've decided to take it to the Tough Truck Challenge map. One thing though that is really funny about it that I just noticed is the brakes, as big as they are not enough to hold it in place when you have the parking brake on. Like, look at this. Parking brake is currently off. You can see the brake graphs on the left. If I put the parking brake on, the rear brakes just shoot up, and they will continue to go higher and higher until, well, they fade complete. For some reason, even on a non-slope, the rear brakes are not enough to hold it to the point that they start to smoke. But anyway, the big question is, how does it drive? We'll just never use the parking brake because it's an automatic anyway. Let's give it a shot here. One thing I was very concerned about is that it wouldn't be able to actually move, and thankfully I can say that it does move. Just not particularly quick. Weighing in at over 7,600 kilos is pretty significant. It's more realistic for an armored vehicle, but it's quite heavy, and it makes it quite a challenge for any engine to move it, let alone Like, this is a big V12, and I mean, you can get up to speed, but you really have to push it. So one good thing about it is it does have quite a bit of torque, meaning that we can hopefully drive around the Tough Truck Challenge map a little bit. We're not going to be able to do the main course, but we can probably take on some of the smaller challenges. This is another one of those vehicles, just like the Bugo from last week, or earlier this week, I mean, that it's not really fair to drive it on the track with everything else, but we're totally going to anyway after we finish here. Alright, so for its first test, we are going to take it down this track here. Apparently this is the wrong side. Oops. Alright, so we've actually made it to the starting line of this track. Let's see if this thing can actually get through it. I have my doubts, but it's proven capable so far. The double leaf spring is, interesting. You can see it flapping around when I go over some of these bumps. Alright, water hazard, here we go. Oh wow, it's so tall it doesn't matter. And we could have made it taller as well. Turning circle, not particularly good. Jumping ability, probably decent. Oh, it actually flew. Oh goodness. Yeah, no, if you had that much metal flying in the air, it would come down hard. It's actually going to be able to make it through this track without any issues at all. I don't think I've even broken it yet. It's just too tough. Oh, but it does not stop though. Goodness. Yeah, I totally forgot about the brakes overheating consistently issue. Alright, let's take on something that is a little bit more challenging maybe. There is a particular course over here that might be impossible for this, but hey, let's give it a go anyways. So let's give it a bit of momentum as well. Let's try and go over this rock crawling section without the diffs locked, because, well, why not? So far so good. My goodness, it can wobble back and forth. It's getting over the obstacles with sheer willpower here, and surprisingly not bottoming out too much. But will it make it over the pipes? And without locked diffs, the answer seems to be no. So let's lock both the diffs. Let's put it in low range, and let's try it again. Goodness, you can spin all four wheels with this V12, but yeah, it does not want to go up the pipes. So it has a hitch. We have to pull a trailer, and I have a feeling it's probably not even going to notice a hay trailer behind it, but let's give it a shot anyway. This is a bit of a rough course. Okay, I seem to have been right. The engine is made so that even if it has a bunch of extra weight on it, it's not going to matter. Well, it's actually not bad at towing if you don't care about speed, and you're willing to lose half the load. Okay, all of the load. Goodness, I must say, other than styling, I really like this. Thank you for suggesting it, those of you who did. Messing around with just, like, really heavy vehicles is a lot of fun. It's kind of like the Brodozer, only much, much worse. I think if I was going to make this one differently, I would bring it up into the modern era, put it with, like, more power, much better brakes. We'd go carbon ceramic for sure. Bigger rims so you can fit bigger brakes, and just as heavy as possible. So this is the part of the video where we attempt to drive whatever the heck we've created around the track. And in this case, I fear that we might have a challenger for the slowest car. So currently it's the Bugo, unfortunately named Trim 8 for whatever reason, that is in last place by a significant amount. I feel that this Rhino might actually have a chance of making the Bugo not last place, which would be very surprising. Currently in first place we have the Beamng, second place is the Group C car, and third place is the King XR5, with fourth being the Trig X, so the challengers up at the top are no match for the Rhino. Alright, setting off in the Rhino. We should totally make a Rhino Sport, by the way, and to fit the license plate at the back. I have it in high, I've got it in four-wheel drive. I'm not sure if that's the optimal condition for this, but we'll have to see. It is currently, well, it's moving, which is good. Our top speed is probably not going to be reached. Whoa, it is complaining. And my goodness, I have to be careful on the brakes as well. When you're driving something that weighs this much, you gotta be much more careful than it seems. Yeah, I feel like this might actually be faster than the Bugo, which is, I mean, it's not too surprising, but the Bugo did weigh 750 kilos, whereas this weighs 10 times that. A little bit of a wall tap there, but we're coming in. This is going to be a pretty decent lap, actually. All things considered, it might actually run pretty well. Although it does seem to be pulling to the left a little bit, and not able to stop at all. Okay, I missed that checkpoint. So the biggest issue this has right now is that it's having a really hard time getting to a stop, which I guess is expected considering its brake issues, but even from 100 kilometers an hour, it will not stop. It takes like a runway to stop. That being said, we're up into a section where we can focus on potentially reaching the top speed. It is pulling a little bit to the left from a previous collision, which seems to happen constantly on this lap. Or on this course, I mean. Coming in there just a little smoothly. Not going to be locking up the brakes or anything crazy. Handling, we're not doing so hot, so yeah, gotta be really quite conservative with it. It seems like the Bugo might get a run for its money here. Let's see. The Rhino X12 with a mighty V12 is coming in. How will it do in the overall lap time though? Okay, that's the last corner and we just have a straight run to the finish. Maybe this is the time when you kick it into two-wheel drive. But less resistance. Oh, a 208, so it is faster than the Bugo. Goodness. Yeah, it's faster than the Bugo by a significant margin. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think of the Rhino X12 in the comments. You can also download it if you follow the link in the description. If you're interested in content like this, don't forget to subscribe. We've just reached 5,000 subscribers, which is really quite cool. I'm going to keep making videos like this every Friday, and I'm hopefully going to be doing something different earlier in the week. I start work next week, so I'll be a little bit more busy. But yeah, still trying to be active on here. Let's see how it goes.